So my name is Samir Mayakar, and I'm the Deputy Mayor for Economic Development, and I'm very honored to represent this community and to be here tonight with all of you. We have an exciting program planned for all of you tonight, and I have to say we have a very large group of representatives here. I think the mayor's going to get you to all be quiet.
Hey folks, thank you. We have a brief but important program. We'd love your attention. It's great that you're all very happy to be in the same room together, but just keep your voices low for a short amount of time. Thank you.
Thank you, boss. So what I was mentioning is we have so much representation from the Asian community in our administration. Coincidentally, the mayor has selected basically everyone who touches money in the government to be Asian. So we are proud. You're going to hear from all of us tonight. But my job here is to introduce our invocation speaker. And our invocation speaker tonight serves as the president of the Omnia Institute for Contextual Leadership, which focuses on building collaborative spaces across all communities. Their method of teaching includes listening to, learning from, and living in deep solidarity with those in the margins. And tonight we're going to hear from Reverend Dr. Shanta, and I wore my purple tonight because he is also a fellow graduate of Northwestern University. So let me turn the podium over to our invocation speaker, Dr. Shanta.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. It's very good to be here. Madam Mayor, it's a great pleasure and honor to be in your presence. Distinguished guests, friends, as we begin our program today, let's take a moment to be silent so that we can all focus our minds. Let us remember with gratitude the places from where we have come, the families, the religious communities, the schools, the teachers, the mentors, the workplaces, people who have guided us along the way. Let us also remember those whom we have left behind in many parts of Asia and Pacific Islands. Not just family members, but those less privileged, those who continue to face various political and economic oppressions and violence and massive repercussions of climate change. Let us offer a prayer, each in our own way, that they may find justice, equity, and peace. Let us remember with gratitude this great nation to which we have come and this fabulous city which we call home. The hopes with which we all came here, the opportunities and privileges it bestows upon us. Let us also remember those in our own neighborhoods who do not have some of the same privileges that we have, those who continue to face political and economic oppressions and violence, particularly remembering those who, like some of us, are immigrants, refugees, asylum seekers, who, like us, continue to come here seeking a better life for themselves and their families. Let our gratitude lead us to action and commit in our hearts to act in ways that bring about justice, equity, and peace. And finally, let us offer a prayer of thanks for our mayor and for her heart of compassion and justice for people who are in the margins, and for those and for what she's been able to accomplish despite some unprecedented challenges. And let us offer a prayer of guidance for our new mayor and his team, that they may love mercy, do justly, and walk humbly with God and among their fellow citizens. Amen.
All right, good evening. Thank you all for joining us tonight. My name is Susie Park, and I serve as the Budget Director for the City of Chicago. It is such an honor to be here tonight to kick off AAPI Heritage Month with all of you. If you will indulge me for a quick second, I overestimated my homework assignment, so did write a little brief introduction. I wanted to briefly take a little bit of time to talk about what it has meant to me to be able to represent the AAPI community as part of Mayor Lightfoot's administration. Almost 18 years ago, I was a bright-eyed 20-something starting my first job at the City of Chicago. As a daughter of immigrant Asian parents, government worker was not in the list of careers that my parents had envisioned for me, but nonetheless, I was excited for this new opportunity. Who knew that with a combination of hard work and a little bit of fate that I would be standing here before all of you today? 18 years ago, I was the only Asian in my city department. I was also probably one of few Asians in city government overall. I remember going through the city directory to see how many Kims, Parks, and Lees there were, and there weren't many. And as I moved through city service over the next several years, I could count on one hand the number of Asian Americans in leadership roles throughout city government. Thankfully, we have come a long way since that time, but always with room to go further. Under Mayor Lightfoot, I've had the honor of being part of the finance dream team here in the city, which is by no coincidence comprised of 3 Asian American women, including CFO Jenny Bennett and Comptroller Reshma Soni. We like to call ourselves the Asian Invasion once in a while. Deputy Mayor Samir Mayarkar, who although is not as cool as the finance team, has also been the leader behind some of the city's key initiatives like Invest Southwest, small business assistance, and other critical economic development projects that have also led to the growth of our city and our communities. We are also now on the cusp of having not one, but 2 Asian American women in the Chicago City Council, which is so critical for having a voice of the AAPI community on the legislative side of government, and something we have never seen before in City Council. We have also more city staff from the AAPI community, more than I've ever seen in my many years here in government, as both members of the mayor's office and members of city departments, which in my opinion is not a coincidence. What it shows is that when you have a leader such as Mayor Lightfoot, who believes that representation matters, that having a seat at the table matter, and that having diversity in leadership all matter, people will follow. Thank you, Mayor Lightfoot, for all that you have done for the AAPI community. Serving as the budget director, under Mayor Lightfoot has been the opportunity of a lifetime, and serving in this role and being able to represent the AAPI community has been an absolute dream come true. I am so very proud to be part of this community, this culture, and this history in the making, and look forward to seeing even more representation for the Asian American community in the years to come. With that, our next speaker is an advocate and a voice in the AAPI community. Through my work on the budget, I've had the privilege of meeting Grace through a variety of community engagement forums. Grace works to bring justice and equity throughout our diverse communities in Chicago. Grace is the Mayor's Office AAPI Engagement Council Chair and has piloted great connections between the AAPI community and the city. Please welcome Grace Chan McKibben.
Thank you, Susie. Just wanted to say that I can relate. I started state government work 20 years ago. Again, looking for all the Asian faces and Asian names, and it was difficult. I want to first thank the Asian American Engagement Council. So folks that are on the council, if you can please wave. I don't know if I worry that I might miss people, so you please just wave. I've had the privilege of serving on this council together with all of you. I call myself chair, but I'm really your servant. It's usually you that call me with issues to bring to the mayor's office, and I thank you all for that. And I also want to thank Nubia Willman, the mayor's chief engagement officer, who's right here, who coordinates all the engagement councils, and she and her team have put together this event together with the Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events. And I want to have a special call out for Maria Ullman, who's been our liaison on the governor's office. And of course, Bart Moy, who says that he retired, but is still here, active and engaged as ever. Bart has been a friend of the Asian American community for decades and will always be our friend, our advocate, and our ally, regardless of whatever position you hold or not hold officially. Thank you very much, Bart. Let's give a hand to Bart in particular. The past 4 years had been unprecedentedly difficult for everyone, especially the Asian American community. Early on in the pandemic, we see small businesses closing, we see Argyle and Chinatown desolate and without any traffic. And now, even 4 years later, we're just beginning to see some of these small businesses in recovery mode and starting to see traffic again and business again. We also saw, with the rise of COVID, anti-Asian hate at a level that we've never seen before. And because of language and cultural barriers, we don't really have very good access to the systems that are supposed to address these kinds of hatred and these kinds of issues. And we continue to strive for language access and for cultural competency in all of our government offices and also in all of our service departments. And I thank you all that are here, that represent a social service agency, that represents a government department who's been trying very hard to bridge all of these difficulties and these challenges. At the same time, during these 4 years, we've had some really great accomplishments that we can look back to with great pride. At the state level, many of these organizations that are here today worked hard to achieve the TEACH Act, the TEACH Equitable Asian American Community History Act, which makes Illinois the first state in the country to require that every public school in the state teach Asian American history from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. So give yourselves a hand, all the organizations that are represented here that worked hard making history literally that way. We also were able to, last year, through the efforts of many that are around here, achieve the first ever Asian American Majority Award in the city. So the city council map consisted of the new 11th ward, represented by Alderman Lee here, that is more than 50% Asian American. We talked a lot about representation here. We talked a lot about firsts, we talked a lot about breaking barriers, breaking ceilings, and so on. But what I'd like to see is for us to continue to work towards equity, to work towards cross-racial solidarity, to work towards uplifting our Asian American voices so that we don't need to talk about firsts anymore, so that in every government department, seeing Asian American faces is not rare, but a common occurrence, so that when you see a movie full of Asian Americans, that's just commonplace and is not once in a lifetime or once in a generation, so that whenever we uplift our voices, it's not unusual and people have to say Asian American this. It is American history. Asian American history is American history. Asian Americans are Americans and we belong. Thank you very much. Next, I'm going to introduce Reshma Soni, City Comptroller, another member of the city's finance dream team.
Good evening, everyone. Namaste. My name is Reshma Soni. I'm the City Comptroller. It's my honor and pleasure to be here representing the AAPI community. As Susie so eloquently said, I mean, all Asians are overachievers, so we saw her doing that part. But as she said, we're very lucky to be here at a time where we can represent the AAPI community, not only in the roles that we play, but in everyday lives, being citizens of the city of Chicago. And we're very lucky to have Mayor Lightfoot supporting us in that role. In my years with the city, and I used to audit the city 17 years ago and then started working for the city about 10 years ago, have never seen so much attention put to a community that was really not represented. So I just wanted to say thank you to Mayor Lightfoot for giving us that representation and allowing us all to be together and to be able to show our culture and heritage. So thank you very much, Mayor Lightfoot. I would also like to introduce our next speaker, Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy, who really needs no introduction. He represents the Illinois 8th Congressional District. Congressman Krishnamurthy is the first South Asian American in history to lead a congressional committee. So thank you very much, and please welcome Congressman Krishnamurthy.
Good evening. It's an honor to be here, and as I like to say, it's an honor to be any place they can pronounce my name correctly. And so I want to observe those 3 rules of public speaking: be short, be sweet, and be gone. 3 points. Can you give a big round of applause to Mayor Lightfoot and her whole team, the dream team, as well as all the dignitaries who are here. Basically, I cannot overstate how important it is that we come together, but also under her leadership, we've come together often, and we've celebrated each other. There's this saying, our diversity is our strength, but our unity is our power. And we, in celebrating our diversity as Asian Americans, are unifying as a community, aren't we? And Lori Lightfoot has helped to lead the way. In fact, I think she's honorary Asian American at this point. Wouldn't you say so? The second point is, I want to celebrate all of you. You know, Asia is known for being an economic powerhouse. It's known for its exports. And I would say its greatest exports are its Asian Americans. Let me tell you what the recent census has said about Asian Americans. I'm talking about the 2020 census. The 2020 census said that Asian Americans are the fastest growing ethnic minority in the country. They are among the best educated in the country. They are among the most prosperous in the country. And they are some of the best looking people I've ever seen. Okay, that was not in the census. I'm embellishing just a little bit. I'm a little prejudiced. But the point is this, which is Asian Americans have now arrived. And they've arrived in the city of Chicago. Am I right about that? Third and final point is this. Look, there's an old saying in Washington, D.C., which is very simple. If you don't have a seat at the table, you're on the menu. And none of us can afford to be on the menu. Am I right about that? And so that's why we are lifting our voices to be heard, whether it's on the issue of making sure that nobody, I mean nobody, is targeted based on their race or where they come from. Whether it's making sure that public education is accessible and of a high quality for everyone. Whether it's making sure that small businesses and entrepreneurship is nurtured, those are all issues of concern to all of us in this great city and this region. But Asian Americans need to be at the table to lift these issues up. And so I would ask you to do 3 things leaving tonight. 3 things. 1, we have to vote. You know, in our community, in our families, we like to talk politics. Doing politics is a different issue. And doing politics means voting. And so that's one thing. Secondly, we have to work on causes bigger than ourselves. And then third, it's time to run for office. And it doesn't matter. Yeah, you should clap. I think I see some people who are ready to run. And it doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent. It doesn't matter. The point is, it's time to also run for office. When I was growing up, mayor and first lady, when I was growing up in Peoria, Illinois, my father said to me, Raja, you can do anything you want to do in life. I said, really? He said, yes. He said, you can be a mechanical engineer, a civil engineer, electrical engineer, computer engineer, or a doctor. I ended up getting a BS in mechanical engineering. Of course, people say I practice the BS part now. But the point is that really you can do anything. The world is your oyster, and we have to remember that in our community. So perhaps you're going to run for office. It doesn't matter what level you run for. Maybe you'll even run for the U.S. Congress, though please not in my congressional district. But we are so delighted that you are here tonight. We are so delighted to be here with Lori Lightfoot, who has the heart of gold, a heart of compassion, a heart of service for the entire city, and we are so honored to be with you. Thank you so much. God bless. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jenny Huang Bennett, and I'm the Chief Financial Officer for the City of Chicago. And as you heard today, I am the third leg of the dream team from the city, financial team of Susie and Reshma. The one thing I wanted to tee off on is something that Grace said, which is that it takes a lot to do the work that we do, but that very importantly, we strive to exceed the labels that have been placed upon us. We are the first all-Asian American dream team, women dream team of the city finances. But very importantly, not only are we that label, but we have demonstrated that we have the goods. We have achieved a financial turnaround of epic proportions. We have closed the $2 billion budget gap. We've achieved 13 rating upgrades. And most importantly, what that means for the city of Chicago is that we have put in place the largest investment plans for the city in its history. There are three of them, which total an amount of $8 billion. So what does that mean? Streets paved. It means progressive investments, mental health investments, homelessness investments, and all of that thanks to Mayor Lightfoot and her leadership. The focus that she has had on fiscal discipline, which ultimately allows us to pay for these investments, is the reason why we're here today. And so mostly to say that, although we are Asian, we are also bringing good change to the city of Chicago, and that's something that I'm very proud of. I have the honor of introducing Alderwoman Nicole Lee, who is the Alderman of the 11th Ward. She is the first Asian American woman to be in City Council. Now we have two, and very importantly, again, represents an important demographic in the city. But more importantly than that, what I've learned about Alderwoman Lee in my time with her is that not only does she care passionately about the city of Chicago, but she comes extraordinarily prepared to city council meetings with not just the information that supports her ward, but supporting the city of Chicago at large. She comes with good questions, she comes with knowledge, and she comes with passion for the city. And so I'm extremely proud to introduce Alderwoman Lee.
Hi, everybody. How you doing? It seems like only yesterday, a year ago, I was on this stage for this exact event, and this room looks definitely bigger. Is there something in the air about Asian Americans in Chicago? I think there might be. I could not be more proud to stand before you today as the first duly elected Chinese American on the City Council. Thank you. I get to introduce Mayor Lightfoot. I'm going to do that at the end. So I'll save the glowing everything for you at the end. I want to take the moment just to, I think, just build off of all of the speakers before me and really talk about how important this moment in time is and what it took to get here, and that it's really just the beginning. I don't want to have more conversations about first. This is great. It's great to get here, but we have work to do. And for those of you who were at the event yesterday, I'm going to repeat a little bit of my talking points from yesterday. Why is Asian American Heritage Month so important? Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. It's not just about the culture that we brought here, but it really is about the paths that we chart when we get here. And I think that as we in the city are sitting in this moment and in this country where migrants are being bussed into our city on a daily basis, that we can't forget where we all came from and the struggles that our families and sacrifices that our families made so that we might stand in this room, I might stand in this position, that we might together serve our communities, and not just the Asian community or the Asian American community, but the entire community. To your point, Grace, now's our opportunity to continue to build on this and to build and forge stronger relationships across all groups in and around the city, and for sure across this country, because there's way too much division right now. And I think we do have to talk about the things that unite us more. And as I was out campaigning and talking to people, I definitely heard far more points of intersection than I did about division. We want a safe community. We want good education for our children. We want for our families to be more prosperous than the generation before, and we've got to be able to work together to do that. So, what an incredible time for us. So I'm going to talk a minute about the City Council and what we're going to be going into, because we've gone up 100% with Asian American representation on the City Council. I don't know if Alderman-elect Lenny Mana Hoppenworth is here. I've had the opportunity to begin to get to know her. I'm excited to work with her. I'm excited to raise voices at the City Council level about Asian American issues. And really, Susie said something to me after budget hearings last year that I've repeated many times. I've not credited to you, and I'll do it tonight. Because what she said to me struck me as very profound, and like, what a moment we have. She said to me, in the 18 years that I've worked for the city, nobody has ever asked these questions before. Because the questions that I was asking were all about Asian representation. What are we doing to promote Asians in this department? How many contractors do we have that are Asian American? Because representation absolutely matters. And if anybody ever tells you otherwise, you can send them to come talk to me, okay? I'll set them straight. We have so many opportunities to lead, and to Congressman Krishnamurthy's point, everybody should run. Not everybody should run. You can run against me, it's okay. I came to this a little reluctantly, so I'm going to take a slightly different approach to this, because I didn't see myself in this position. People have asked me, what made you want to run? I said, well, Grace Chan McKibben called me, and she asked me. And I think that that's what we need to do more of, right? We need to talk to people. We need to inspire young people to choose these careers. Now, many of you know that my father was one of the original Asian pioneers in city government. And I don't know that he could have foreseen a day where there would be an Asian alderman for his community, let alone his daughter. Yet here I stand. Here I stand on his shoulders and the shoulders of my grandfather, who, when he was old enough, joined the U.S. Navy during the time when the United States was beginning to offer naturalization for military service, and he fought in World War II. But for his sacrifice, I would not stand before you today. Thank you. And why I'm here, why I chose to run, because I did have to choose that, why I chose to run is for the future that I want for my children and all of our kids. That there's going to be a community in the 11th Ward that will welcome them, that will be a place where they can thrive and raise future generations, that this city is a welcoming place where everybody can cohabitate together and not worry about what my neighbor's going to be doing, that there isn't hate, and that there are people that will stand up for others. Because what we can't do is step over these things that we have stepped over for many, many years and decades. We have to call out injustice where it lives, and we can't be afraid to have those conversations. But with public involvement, please, 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 if this election and this adventure that I've taken into politics has taught me anything, is that we need more good people. We need diverse voices at the table. We need everybody to be involved, big or small. First and foremost, register to vote, because that's where our power is going to be. I won my election, I won my race by, 63% of the vote, and 51% of the voting age population in Chinatown or in the 11th Ward is Asian. And that just goes to show, and I didn't get all of those votes. I know I didn't. But this is the power of what's possible. So I encourage all of you, continue to have those conversations. Don't wait till election season is here again. I'm not. We have to build this and continue to build this now so that 4 years from now, 2 years from now, when there are other races going on, that we're prepared to represent. With that, I'm going to introduce the mayor. What can I say, Mayor Lightfoot? Beyond thank you. I only have my don't worry, everything that I'm going to say my mother would have approved, and you know how much she loves you. Mayor Lightfoot, I believe, has done more for equity and representation in the city of Chicago than any mayor before her, and maybe to come. She's not just talked about it. She's enacted things. She's never just said something and paid lip service to something. If she wanted something done, it was getting done. And I am under no delusion, I don't think anybody in our community is, that, but for the circumstances that happened and your decision to choose me for this job, I did ask her for it. I believe I said, Mayor Lightfoot, if you choose me, I'm gonna work really hard for this city. And I will be the best representative for my ward. And she believed me. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. But she is a person that has prioritized diversity and prioritized representation. She hired the best people, my God. I mean, in the history of the city here too, with this dream team over here, there's been more representation across the city. And with the development and the establishment of the Asian Pacific American Engagement Council, you took that one step further, and you really listened and saw us as a community. And for that, we thank you. We wish you well, and it's my honor and privilege to introduce Mayor Lori Lightfoot.
Well, let me start with thanking Alderwoman Nicole Lee. It was a big leap for her to leave her very comfortable job at United Airlines and to take this leap of faith to represent her community as an elected official. I think she was nervous. The path wasn't certain, but it was very clear to me she was the right choice. Really going back from when we were starting to think about redistricting. I didn't weigh in a lot, although I did weigh in on a couple of things. And one of my key priorities is to make sure that finally, Chinatown would have the opportunity to elect one of its own for representation in City Council. Some of you know that in my private work as an attorney, I represented lots of different folks in redistricting cases over the years. And every single decade, the people in Chinatown said, please, don't divide us up into 4 different pieces in this legislative district and that, and please see us as a whole community, as we know that we are, and let us have representation and serve self-determination. And I'm so pleased that it was long overdue, but that it happened, and Nicole Lee is the right person for this moment and is going to carry forward the needs of the community all over the 11th Ward, but particularly those of Chinatown. So congratulations, and we wish you the best of luck. I'm going to ask this table here to come up for a second. Come on up. Don't be shy. You're not shy. None of you are shy. Stand alongside here. Folks, I want you to take a look here. Never before in the history of our city have you seen this kind of representation in positions of power in city government. Never before. And every single one of these people has incredible pedigree, has worked tirelessly over the last 4 years and has done great work in service for the residents of our city, and you should be incredibly proud of them because they deserve our praise and our gratitude for everything that they've done on behalf of the residents of this city. And now that I've embarrassed them, they may take their seats. I'll say a little bit more about them in a moment. I'm honored to be here for this last celebration of a Heritage Month in my tenure as mayor. And it's fitting that we're ending here. This month provides an opportunity to recognize the contributions of Asian American and Pacific Islanders to the history, culture, and achievements of Chicago. Affirmation and validation matters. Our children need to see themselves in our leaders and feel pride that their cultural heritage is something to be uplifted and appraised and be something that is celebrated. There are so many diasporas and communities represented here tonight, each one in their own way, marking Chicago as the vibrant, rich, and successful city it is because of our diversity, and Congressman, yes, because of our strength. In this room alone, many of our city's incredible AAPI leaders and community advocates are here, and I'd like to acknowledge just a few. You heard me talk earlier about Alderwoman, maybe Freudian slip, Alderwoman Nicole Lee. And the leaders that have served in my administration, our Chief Financial Officer, Jenny Bennett, Budget Director, Susie Park, City Comptroller, Reshma Soni, and their teams who have been working tirelessly to create a financial turnaround for our city that is the marvel of the nation. Jenny says this all the time, and it's so true. When you get your fiscal house in order, that gives you the space and the resources to make the critical investments that are needed. As she says, and she's right, and the team has demonstrated, budgets, finances are not just math problems, they are value statements. And I hope that you realize that we have demonstrated through 4 tough budgets, through lean time and more prosperous times, that we are about making sure that we do the right things, make the tough decisions so that we have the space and, importantly, the resources to make the investments. That would not have been possible without these 3 women leading the way, and I am forever grateful for their incredible contributions to the city. And Samir Mayakar, whose praises I have rightfully been singing every time that we've been on the roadshow, a budget of ribbon cuttings and groundbreakings across the city. Samir's vision, his vision, and hard work is evidence in every development and investment, big or small, that has occurred across our city for these last 4 years. And the seeds that we have planted will be the harvest that generations will be able to eat from and live from for generations to come. Thank you to Samir and his entire team. On our south and west side, Samir saw vacant lots and abandoned spaces as sprawling mixed-use developments and entrepreneurial hubs that add millions of dollars of revenue to the economy while revitalizing disinvested in neighborhoods. In a downtown area, Samir saw empty office buildings and reimagined them as affordable housing units and neighborhood amenities. And he has helped to welcome over 300 business relocations and openings in our city in the last 4 years, many of which came during the pandemic. Our city owes him and his entire team a huge debt of gratitude. And the ladies on the finance team will say, and yes, we made that all possible because we saved the city's finances. In my administration's commitment to equity and inclusion, we have worked to support AAPI businesses by creating the AAPI Engagement Council with representation from various AAPI communities. And thank you, Grace, for leading that and chairing that important council. Many of you know that Grace is the executive director of the Coalition for a Better Chinese American Community. Thank you, Grace, for everything you do for our city every day. The AAPI community is also enriching our city through the arts and culture, demonstrated by the performances that we're enjoying tonight, and demonstrated by the wonderful, incredible creatives that are here with us as well. Thank you all so much. And we're home to AAPI leaders who are working to make our city safer. Organizations like APNAGAR, that works to address gender-based violence and just received a week ago the Mayor's Medal of Honor for doing so. APNAGAR leaders are also active members of the city's task force addressing gender-based violence. And I believe people from CASTLE are also here tonight, an organization that always steps up to help community by implementing almost every program you can think of. Youth support, legal services, food programs, and the list goes on and on. So thank you for the leadership of CASTLE for everything that you do. I'm grateful for all of these amazing contributions to our city, and I'm even more grateful to celebrate them with you all tonight. I hope that this evening empowers and inspires all of us to keep working to achieve equity and inclusion through our city. I hope that one of the lasting legacies of our city is that you remember that this administration and these people who have given the full measure of themselves didn't just talk about equity and inclusion. We showed you how to operationalize it every single day in all the work that we have done. And I hope that this evening reminds us of the importance of guiding the next generation of AAPI leaders, advocates, and neighbors. Let me also just say this. I can't not highlight all of the achievements for this community. And for that matter, the work that we've done to uplift all communities across our city, without making sure that I recognize two important people also that have been a part of this work from day one. The first is Candace Moore, our first ever Chief Equity Officer. I saw Candace earlier. I don't know if she's still here. Come on up, girl. Take a bow. I knew that it was important that we held ourselves accountable to our values of equity and inclusion, and making sure that we had a leader in place who understood it, who was going to push us, and that is exactly what Candace and her team have done. We are doing more throughout every single city department and sister agencies as a result of the hard work that Candace and her team have done to educate folks, first and foremost, well, what does this thing called equity and inclusion mean? Making sure that we've got liaisons in every single department, and having a public dashboard where you can see if we are living up to our values. All of those things are as a result of Candace showing us what equity, inclusion, and racial justice look like. Thank you, Candace. I also want to thank Nubia Willman. Nubia, please stand. Nubia has taken on many roles over the course of this last 4 years. First, leading the Office of New Americans to make sure, again, that we lived our values by making sure that we were truly a welcoming city. And then when the opportunity presented itself, stepping up as our Chief Engagement Officer and has made all of these incredible celebrations, but importantly, all of the linkages to build trust across so many communities that felt like they were locked out. We have opened the doors wide open. You have embraced us. We have embraced you. We can never go back to a time when communities across our city didn't feel like they had relevance and power on the 5th floor of the City Hall. We can't go back to those times, and we won't with your help, your diligence, and your advocacy. But Nubia, thank you so much for everything that you've done to help us again live our values of equity and inclusion. And let me also thank Bart Moy. Where is Bart? Bart and I have known each other for a very long time when we both worked back in the day, in the early 2000s, at the Chicago Police Department. I was happy and joyful when he agreed to come and work directly in our administration. I can't ask for a better friend, a person who gives me wise counsel, and is such an incredible representative of this community. Bart, yes, you are kind of retired, but we keep luring you back, and we'll continue to do so. Thank you so much, my friend, for everything that you've done for our city. Let me end by saying, Amy and I thank you so incredibly much. These last 4 years, yes, they've been tough, but for each of us, in so many ways, they've been an honor of a lifetime, and one that we will cherish forever. People have asked, how are we doing? We're doing great. 13 days from now, we will be private citizens, Amy and Lori, but we will never, ever forget the way in which you all have touched our lives, have made them so much better and richer, embraced us, loved us, pushed us, but always been there for us. So thank you. God bless you. We love you. Thank you.